Stick with me as we go through my favorite craptastic and weird holiday specials. At the bottom of my list is Santa Conquers the Martians. And now, this is a strange movie in the first place, but really I'm going to recommend that you watch the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version of this movie, because it's way, way funnier. I've seen them both, and Mystery Science Theater really makes this movie much more entertaining and endurable. The thing about this movie is it's a strange movie. I think it was done in the 50s, and everything was about Martians then. They had all these TV shows about Martians. So, of course, Santa had to meet the Martians. And there's a clumsy plot line where these kids get kidnapped by Martians, and Santa gets kidnapped by Martians, and they're on Mars. And, of course, the people of Mars have no clue what Christmas is about, so he has to teach the Martians what Christmas is about. And there's some bad guys. For some reason, they don't like Santa. It's spreading cheer on Mars. And that's really about as deep as this plot goes. The rest of this is just a bunch of nonsense silliness that it's kind of like fluff they just put in. There is a comic relief character named Droppo, which is horribly annoying. And what's funny about this movie is it is Pia Zadora's very first movie, so you can see what she looks like as a little kid. Later on, she goes on to be, the sex siren, and it's pretty funny to see that. So the other thing about this movie is that it builds up to this big climax where Santa gets kidnapped, and they have to use toys to escape, and they attack the Martians with toys Santa made in his factory. I don't know. It just gets worse and worse. But eventually, at the end of the movie, Santa gives the comic relief character Droppo his blessing to be Martian Santa Claus. And so complete waste of time of a movie unless you're watching the Mystery Science Theater version of it. Then it's really fun, and it's just a wacky movie that's like, why was this ever made? Number 9's actually in here because it's truly, truly a crappy movie. I wouldn't even really call it a craptastic, but I had to kind of put it in. I had to put one really bad movie in. And for you guys that didn't know this, I didn't know this until my girlfriend pointed this out, that there are 2 Christmas Vacation movies. That's right. The first one's awesome. Everybody loves it. The second one you've probably never heard of. It's called Christmas Vacation 2, Cousin Eddie's Island Adventure. Now, the whole thing is they take Randy Quaid, which is Cousin Eddie from all the vacation movies, which he's awesome in the vacation movies. He's probably my favorite part in character in the vacation movies, but they try to get him to carry an entire movie on his own. Oh, wow. This was a disaster. And it really, they take a couple of the jokes that were in the first dozen whatever vacation movies, and they rehash them. So like they make jokes about every 10 minutes about the plate in his head, and like the plate can zap bugs, and the plate can attracts metal, and it's like this ridiculous storyline that just keeps going and going. And then they take their dog that stinks snot, and they remind you he stinks every 5 minutes in the movie. They'll make the dog fart, or somebody will complain about how much the dog stinks, and it just doesn't matter. Like, the joke's not funny anymore. Eddie starts out by getting a free trip to Hawaii. He gets it because he's working with a monkey that bites him in the butt. That's funny somehow. But before they leave, some reason there's a plumbing problem that Eddie creates, and this sight gag goes on for almost like 5 minutes of them trying to stop a plumbing leak. And it's supposed to be funny, but it's not. It's terrible. This continues as they fly out to the island. You get to watch Eddie on the airplane and some humor there. And then they accidentally rent a boat that gets stranded on this island, and they decide to set up life there, and they have a Christmas there. Now, this movie is called Christmas Vacation. There's about 30 seconds of Christmas in this movie. It has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas. They kind of just like push it in there that it happens to be Christmas Day on the island when they're trapped. That's it. Not like, you know, the first one where the whole thing revolves around a bunch of funny Christmas mishaps. So if you think Christmas Vacation 2 is anything like the first one, you're going to be sorely mistaken, and you're going to waste a ton of time. I don't even understand this movie. Some reason he becomes a pilot and has a monkey as a co-pilot. I don't even know where they were going. And, you know, for you guys that actually keep up with the news, you remember that the main character, Randy Quaid, he disappeared a few years ago and went to Canada with his wife. And nobody really knew what happened to him. And they finally caught up with him, and he said he ran to Canada because the Illuminati was trying to kill him. And he was worried for his life, and I think they brought him back to the U.S. And I really think that maybe the whole reason the Illuminati was trying to kill him is because of this movie, that he made this movie, and they're just trying to erase it from the earth, all parts of it, because it was that bad. So save yourself some time and don't watch this one. Number 8 is He-Man and She-Ra, a Christmas special. Yep, that happened. So basically, as He-Man kind of started aging, they started coming up with other shows, and they launched She-Ra, which was like a female version of He-Man. It's his sister. And the whole point of these shows eventually became to just sell the toys. So He-Man would come out with a new character or a new vehicle to drive or something else that they could sell you. And then his other show, She-Ra, would do the same thing. So they're always cranking out all these new characters. Well, this was like the culmination of all that. This ended up being about an hour-long commercial for everything that ever happened in He-Man. They try to squeeze every character into this special, even if it doesn't make any sense at all. They're coming together for Christmas because He-Man's mom is from Earth and wants to do Christmas. And so all these characters don't know what the heck Christmas is. And, of course, Orko is an idiot, and he's always screws up everything. I don't know why they allow Orko to even hang out. He's terrible. So he steals this ship and gets himself stranded on Earth, meets these kids who were trying to get a Christmas tree, saves them, and somehow they get teleported back. I don't know. The plot line doesn't make any sense, but basically the Horde is mad because these kids are now in Etheria, and that they bring in this Christmas idea of goodwill and love, and they can't have that. So all the evil guys team up. Skeletor and Hordak team up together to get rid of these kids. Oh my God. The storyline is just really clumsily put together in just one gigantic commercial, because they just cram in every little vehicle they could and all this. So that's really all you got to know about this one. But it does take me on a side tangent, because I want to talk about how much better She-Ra has it than He-Man. Like, when you watch them both, He-Man's special powers, he's strong. And all he does is break things. So, like, they need a hole in a wall, he'll punch a hole. He needs a giant robot tank, he'll punch the tank. Once in a while, he'll throw some things into space, or he'll throw people around. But you never... Oh, he throws his sword once in a while, but that's it. She-Ra comes along. Oh my gosh. So She-Ra has all these powers. Not only is she pretty much as strong as He-Man, she's a lot faster. She does acrobatics. And then she has this sword that can block anything. Even like magic, it blocks. And she can level up her horse with this sword from Spirit to Swift Wind, which, pretty much is the same as He-Man. And then her sword also transmutates things. So, like, whenever she needs whatever she wants, it becomes. Whatever's convenient for sloppy plot writing, yeah, it happens. So if she needs a shield, the sword becomes a shield. She also has a helmet. a parachute, a rope. This thing, I swear, it turns into a rope, and she can like use a grappling hook. It's turned into a grappling hook, a boomerang. It shoots freeze bolts. She can turn the sword to blade, which is basically like their ripoff of a lightsaber. She uses it in the Christmas special to cut herself out of a trap, and it's like this flaming sword, but it's totally a lightsaber. Ripping that off. She doesn't usually get into physical scraps unless she has to. She uses her brain to outsmart everything, and she pretty much only kills robots, right? Compared to He-Man, who's all he does is punch things. That's it. Like, what's your special power? I punch things. You know, She-Ra's got all this cool stuff, but He-Man, oh, he throws things too. So yeah, nice sexism job. And, you know, although He-Man still is funnier, because when they give her witty punchlines to say at the end, they're not very good. And it just really perpetuates this whole myth that women aren't funny. Sorry. You need to talk to the writers of She-Ra, because her one-liners are not funny. Other than that, there's always this sexual tension between the two. Like, you're like, they're brother and sister, but there's a lot of erotic poses they seem to get into, and deep looks, and kind of innuendo all over the place. And you don't really notice when you watch as an adult how homoerotic He-Man is, but yeah, there's a lot of it, which, you know, stuff you miss as a kid, right? Anyway, oh yeah, we're talking about Christmas, so let's get back to the Christmas specials. Sorry, this had to be said. My countdown is going to be continued.